And we're back with another 3D printed, custom made LED sign that I fully designed and intend to give for a Valentine's Day present. This item is perfect for creating for a family member or a significant other. It looks beautiful and it's one of a kind. Let's get started with the creation of this project. I first wanted to create another LED sign project, and I knew I wanted to use Tron wire, or formerly known as EL wire. This product can be purchased from Amazon for cheap. I ended up getting a whole package of different colors for future projects. I had this wire before from back in 2016 when I had it in my high school vehicle, which everyone loved. On the control box of this wire, we can press the button to toggle 3 different light modes: solid light, slow blink, and fast blink. If we take a look at the specs of this, we can see that we have a step-up transformer which will provide a slight hum on the project. We also have an LED that turns on or blinks depending on the mode. Then we have battery terminals, and finally the rather large push button. If I want to get all of the components to fit in this project, I will have to space everything out so my project will be a reasonable size but not too large or awkwardly shaped. I knew I wanted to get a heart themed for Valentine's Day, so I first started out with that. I needed to make sure that the thickness was big enough to hold 2 AA batteries in series, so the voltage will be 3 volts just like it would be in the typical container. I also measured the control box to see what the dimensions are and the size of the biggest pieces. A digital caliper works great for this process. After I got the grooves in place, I needed to make sure I could run wire between the components that I needed. I have size templates for the screws I used and the battery sizes. This helps me determine how to create the lids to screw on and secure the components, as well as see how big the batteries are. Next, I decided it would be best if our initials were in the heart as well, so I had to space out the letters accordingly. Finally, I decided to match the heart theme and add another one between the letters. This will be printed on the face of the project so it prints the best on my printer. It seems as if printing on the glass will provide the smoothest results. In this case, I wanted all of the front-facing items to be touching the plate so I don't have to print any support beams and have it not look the best. After this, I plan to have backing on it along with the picture with a light on it. Most of these ideas came as I was designing the product, and I didn't really have a set idea, and I just had to play around with it to figure out what I wanted. I added a frame that the picture would sit behind, and I also created a back template to put in the place using hot glue. I had my sister draw up an animated picture using Adobe Illustrator, which turned out awesome. I then printed it out on picture paper, which had a glossy look on it to make it glow more with the pink EL wire. After finally printing all of the components, I started assembling them. I realized the picture still looked a bit dark, so I added my own white 2V 20mA LED to the circuit that sits behind the picture to light it up more. Before we get more into it, don't forget the wiring diagram will be on my website neha.com. Here you can also find more details about how the project went, and can also view more of my projects such as programming new video games or even building new speaker systems. The next step is to now solder all of the wires and the components together. For this process, I added 2 sets of battery terminals in the diagonal slot on the heart. I thought it was a pretty creative idea to fold one of the terminals to match the shape of the heart to make it look more natural. I set that one in the middle, which sets the batteries to be in series, and soldered a wire to each of the end terminals as well. The spring terminal is a negative and the concaved one is a positive. Then I soldered these wires to the positive and negative terminals on the motherboard. Since I was adding another LED, I had to figure out where in the circuit had 1 to 3 volts DC, and I realized I could attach it to the already existing LED. I also wanted to switch out the push button to a similar one. The original one was just too big. I had a whole container of different sizes, and I found one that fits perfectly. I desoldered the switch and added 2 wires to one side of the push button, and now it sits facing out of the back of the sign. I manually drilled a hole for this because I ended up switching my mind about how things should work. I also had to drill 2 holes on the side of the project for the newly added white LED and for the EL wire. Finally, we are at the gluing stage. I used tacky glue to glue the picture to the heart frame. After waiting for this to dry, I glued the frame in place where I wanted it. The goal was to be as far away from the text as possible so the image could be seen better, and the LED behind the image was more visible and lit it up more. Then I glued the backing on similar to the process before. I tried to make it as flush as possible. For the future, I would try to use the least amount of glue as possible. I started out using E6000 glue to glue the EL wire down, but I ended up switching to hot glue since it dries much faster. Try to only get the glue under the EL wire to make it look more professional. A fine tip glue gun will do the trick for this. Also, try to minimize the amount of webbing because the glue will get stuck in the 3D print and it's quite hard to get off. Overall, this was a fun and innovative project, especially since this type of idea can be transformed and implemented for nearly all types of projects. For the future, I hope to use less glue and less hole drilling, which will make the projects look less professional. Let me know what you all thought of this project. Don't forget to like and subscribe. As a full-time student and employee, I work hard to push out these innovative videos for everyone. I hope you all enjoyed and thanks for watching.